Thanks, Kara. Good afternoon, everyone, for joining us for the July 21st wildfire briefing. As of 11 o'clock this morning, we have 52 active wildfires. Of those wildfires, 3 are categorized as contained, 13 not contained, 20 ongoing assessment, 16 are listed as protecting values. As of today, Saskatchewan has had 378 wildfires, which is well above the 5-year average of 289. Fires of note, we have the Shoe Fire in the Lower Fishing Lake area. Current size is 554,667 hectares. It's classified as not contained. And we do have a highway closure of 912 due to the fire activity. The Pisu Fire west of La Ronge, current size of 263 hectares, not contained. The Wolf Fire west of Denair Beach, current size is 159,903 hectares on the Saskatchewan side, classified as not contained. The Ditch Fire north of Weaquin, current size is 188,819 hectares, categorized as not contained. The Muskeg Fire, which is north of La Plonge Reserve near Beauval, current size is 221,491 hectares. And we do have highway closures of 918 and Highway 165 from Junction 155 to Junction 914. The Bull Fire is west of Weaquin. Current size is 38,216 hectares, with 31,218 hectares being outside the national park. The fire is in the northeast corner of the Prince Albert National Park, and we do have closures of Highway 916. The Trail Fire, which is west of Beauval, is current size is 18,597 hectares, and we do have intermittent highway closures due to the fire activity in the area. Due to an update on the evacuations, at this time, we have 8 communities who are either under an evacuation order or a voluntary evacuation order. And we have others that have evacuated their P1s and P2s. Currently, there are approximately 2,800 individuals being evacuated or supported by family and friends in the province. And I'll quickly go over the list. We have the resort subdivision of Lac La Plonge, the northern village of Beauval, Jans Bay, resort subdivision of Little Amiot Lake, La Plonge First Nations, Pachinak English River First Nation, Canoe Lake, Canoe Narrows, Montreal Lake, Cree Nation, northern village of Pine House, northern hamlet of Coal Bay, Isla Cross. We also have a voluntary evacuation in La Loche and La Loche area. They are either being supported by SPSA or MLTC. I'd also like to bring some clarification in regards to the highway closure of Highway 155, which I just mentioned. There is a tribal advisory out today. And as it was mentioned last week, there are parts of Highway 155 that are closed due to wildfire activity. Some other parts of the highway are not open to public access due to the risk, but we are ensuring that essential travel and supplies are getting through to the Loche and northern communities. And those vehicles are being piloted through those critical areas to ensure safety of all those involved. As a reminder, there is a fire ban remains in place due to the extreme fire risk. The ban encompasses the area north of the provincial forest boundary up to the Churchill River. The fire ban prohibits any open fires, controlled burns, or fireworks in the designated boundary, and this includes provincial parks, provincial recreation sites, and the Northern Saskatchewan Administrative District within those boundaries. We also have a number of firefighters or support staff from out of province. We have firefighters from Quebec, Australia, Mexico, Nova Scotia, Ontario. We also have the 2 planes that remain in from Quebec, and we are also getting approximately 23 firefighters from New Brunswick later today. Currently, we have 14 fire departments that are either actively assisting us or en route to assist us, all on the west side of the province, as well as we have 182 Type 3 firefighters, which are community individuals that are assisting in mop-up operations. In recognizing all the effort that is being, coordinated and worked on this unprecedented year. I really want to reach out and just give my appreciation to all the out of province crews, along with SPSA staff and the local fire departments that continue to support Saskatchewan throughout the wildfire operations. I also want to acknowledge the positive support that these firefighters and their support staff are receiving from the public and from the communities. We are currently using our Facebook page to try to recognize as many of these courageous women and men as we can, because it really is, it's an absolute amazing commitment from many, many different individuals, many different provinces, and many different countries to assist us in our wildfire fight as we continue to protect lives and property. So again, I want to thank hundreds of individuals, whether they are supporting or on the front line, for the work that they are doing to keep us safe. I'll also just take a moment to remind everybody that we do have a SPSA's recovery task team that is supporting specifically the Denair Beach leadership. And last week we announced a community resilience center that was opened in that community that was there to support those residents that lost primary residence due to the wolf fire. That resilience center is there to supply information to those community members that may need to access and manage some financial support or navigate the assistance of rebuilding. And then we'll have information on programs such as Provincial Disaster Assistance Program, Saskatchewan Government Insurance, Ministry of Social Services, Saskatchewan Health Authority and Mental Health Services, as well as Canadian Red Cross, are going to be in that resilience center to support that community as we do the cleanup and work with that community to do the cleanup and rebuilding. I also just want to remind that part of that recovery effort and recovery work that we are doing with that community, Denair Beach and other communities, is that the government of Saskatchewan previously announced $20 million to support debris removal and site cleanup as part of that recovery process. And with that, Kara, I will turn it back to you for questions.
Thanks, Marlo. Just a reminder, we're going to go till 2 o'clock today, and we'll start with one question, and afterwards we'll go to follow-ups if there's time. Before you state your question, I'm going to ask that you please identify yourself and what outlet you are from. And with that, we can go to the first question from Chris V.
Chris Vandenbrekel with Global News. Marlo, in regards to La Loche, is the threat to that community more from the park fire or from the highway access to the south? And in regards to the park fire, can you give us an update on the size and direction that that fire is moving?
Thanks for the question, Chris. I'm going to turn over to Steve in regards to give that specific in regards to that fire.
Sure, I'd give a quick update on the park fire. Park fire is about 14.5 kilometers north of La Loche in the Clearwater River Park. Current size estimated to be 20,900 hectares. We have already taken measures to look at control lines between the fire and the community of La Loche and the Clearwater River Nation adjacent to La Loche. Their biggest concern in the short term is actually smoke. Should we see an expected shift of winds coming from the north, it will push smoke from that fire at the community. So they are targeting high-risk long-term care individuals at this time. It is not an access issue through the fire to the south. As Marlo mentioned, we are guiding essential traffic and supplies through at this time. So that is not the reason for the evacuation. It's more of a potential proactive smoke evacuation at this time. Should the fire escalate, of course, they may also escalate their alert.
Thanks, Steve. We'll go to Aiden J.
Aiden Jager, Saskatoon Star Phoenix. I was wondering, what is the current situation with the Boodle fire, and are there any new threats or evacuation orders that you're anticipating?
Steve, do you want to take that question?
Yes, I can. Current size of the bullfire is 38,000. It has been fairly stable with no large excursions. and no increasing threat to the communities in that vicinity, which include Ramsey Bay, Waskesiu, and Montreal Lake. So at this time, our collaborative unified command system is targeting this fire and keeping it closer to containment. It has not had a lot of spread, and we will continue to do that. So the only current impact is to Highway 916.
Thank you, Steve. Next, we'll go to Jeremy S.
Hi there, Jeremy Symes with the Canadian Press. The number of evacuees, it's 2,800 now. It was 1,700 before. I'm just wondering where we're seeing these additional people come from.
Steve or Marlo, I think you both might have the numbers there.
You want either one of us? Go ahead there, Steve, if you want.
Sure, just with the addition of Isle Lacrosse, which is a recent addition of about 112. Also the northern hamlet of Cold Bay, which is another 20. And then we firmed up some numbers that were estimates from Pachinak English River of 500. So it has increased because we refined some of the numbers of people actually out of their communities. And that number does not include those from the Losh, so the number will be slightly higher than the 2,800 we quoted today.
Thanks, Steve and Marlo. We'll go to Laura W.
Hey, it's Laura with CTV News. I wanted to ask, I don't know if you can answer this, but in regards to the tornado yesterday, some people got emergency alerts, others didn't. Can you clarify who received the alert, and was there an error in regards to yesterday's storm?
Marlo, do you want to answer about Sask Alert?
Yeah, I can speak to this Sask Alert app. We encourage everyone to download the Sask Alert app, and you can set your parameters to your location. I can tell you that the tornado in southern Saskatchewan, I did get the alert, and I know most of the individuals that I know also got the alert. So it often will have to do with how the setting is set up. And where you are. So, but I don't have any specific information on who did not get it, but we can definitely look into it and make sure that there was not an error. But from personally, I received it, and I would suggest that the Sask Alert app work properly.
Thanks, Marlo. Maria R.
So Marie has submitted her question via the chat. Parts of Saskatchewan saw a lot of rain this weekend. Was any of it helpful for the wildfires?
So we received some precipitation. Unfortunately, from the wildfire point of view, it is contained primarily south of the forest and a portion in the far, far north. So the areas that we have these large fires that we're working on right now did not receive substantive precipitation, some humidity benefits, but we're hoping for a little more in the next 24 hours. But even with that being said, the fires have been a little more sedate, and we've been able to make more progress because they haven't been extremely volatile because of high winds or because of very high heat. So it is helping. Obviously, the big solution would be significant rainfall in the vicinity of the fires themselves.
Thanks, Steve. Next, we'll go to Darla P.
Hello, Darla Panis from CBC. So 9 long-term patients were evacuated from the health center and hospital in La Loche. What would it take for the rest of the community to be evacuated?
Marlo,
Doesn't matter. I mean, thanks for the question, Darla. I'll let Steve jump in if I miss anything, but Darla, we're in constant communication with the leadership of La Loche and all those communities. We have ESOs that are part of their daily briefings so that they can do an assessment of fire activity, as Steve talked about, or smoke activity. And it's up to the community to decide whether they want to expand their current evacuation. At this point in time, it's a voluntary evacuation, although they are moving their P1s out of the hospital. We will support those individuals that voluntarily want to leave the community due to smoke or due to health issues, and we will continue to work with that community over the coming days.
Thanks, Marlo. Steve, did you have anything to add, or?
The only other note is that, again, we will be monitoring this fire. We do also, using the weather forecasts, and our fire behavior specialists will look at where this fire might be in 24, 48, 72 hours. And we will share that information with the community. So if the fire doesn't move, it may not be a direct threat, but because of the wind shifts, it may become a smoke threat, which might cause them to have some other P1 individuals who are not in their long-term care facility. For instance, people who are pregnant, people who have respiratory issues but are at home may also at that point be asked to leave the community because of the smoke health issues, small babies, children. So it's a dynamic situation. And as Marlo said, we'll directly deal with the community with what we know and what we expect, and they'll make some decisions about the health and welfare of their citizens on their behalf.
Thanks, Steve. We'll go to Jeremy S. next.
Hi there. Just in follow-up with the additional evacuees, with the fire near Isle Cross, can you just provide more details about that, how far away it is from the community, and just what's prompting that evacuation? Is it smoke, or is it the threat of the fire itself?
Steve, can you take that one, please?
Yeah, I'm just pulling up the data right now on the fire for proximity, but right now the individuals in Isle Cross are leaving strictly from a health smoke-related issue. Fire is not currently a direct threat to the town of Isle Cross. And again, its access of critical supplies and supports is being maintained by the Public Safety Agency and Department of Highways. So currently, those are the only rationale is for medical reasons, smoke reasons. And we, as we also said, is we're in discussion with their local emergency coordination meeting and giving them updates as well. So I'm just checking the current fire distance for you for your question. And the fire is across the lake, 5 kilometers. But if we look at down the highway, we're actually looking at the closest point of the fire on the highway is actually 32 kilometers away.
Thank you, Steve. Maria R.
Maria's question is, are there any considerations to lift the provincial fire ban soon?
Steve?
So currently, with only one single day of rain, we're not prepared to lift the fire ban, especially because the area that the fire ban covers is actually the area that did not receive significant rainfall. So we will continue to monitor that. If we get more rainfall or better conditions, we may be able to modify it. But for now, the core area that the fire ban pertains to is still listed as high risk and high hazard, so the fire ban will remain.
Thank you, Steve. Chris V.
Chris Vandenbrekel with Global News. You talk a lot about some of these communities evacuating due to smoke and health concerns. Have there been any smoke inhalation issues when it comes to your staff and your crews who are in the thick of this?
Steve, do you want to start? And if Marlo wants, he can add comment after.
Sure. I mean, we take measures. Our staff do have sort of some protocols in place that they're to follow. But typically the people moving because of smoke already have a chronic health condition that is made worse by the smoke conditions. It is not actually the average citizen. So our firefighters are able to stay and engage in those conditions where somebody with a chronic lung condition or, for instance, a small child would not be able to. So those are the people that typically move when there is a smoke, and that's what often referred to as P1s and 2s. Leave the community first, because a little bit of smoke will have a bigger impact on those individuals than the average citizen. And you don't typically see the entire community move unless there's a direct fire threat, not necessarily a smoke threat, because there are provisions that the community can put in place for those individuals, like fresh air shelters, which are, for instance, their rink that has an giant commercial air purifier that cleans the air and scrubs it. Behaviors such as keeping your doors and windows closed, not doing extraneous activity in smoky conditions, those types of things. So there are some practices that can take place for the average person, even if they are in a smoky condition.
Thank you. Marlo, did you want to add anything? Are you okay?
I'm good, Kara. I think Steve covered it all.
Awesome. Jeremy S.
Hi again. Just with the additional crews you have right now, I'm just wondering, where are the priority areas in fighting these fires?
Steve, do you want to give operations update?
Sure. The bulk of those resources, so the Quebec crew, the Australians and the Mexican crews have been dispatched to the west side. The crews that are coming in from Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, will be looking likely to be assigned in that Waiaquan area as a next wave. So it's not just that we're adding more, it's also that we have other crews that are coming out. So in some cases, this is a replacement, in some cases, this is an augmentation. Area of highest concern for the province right now is that sort of Beauval complex of fires, the Trail Fire and the Muskeg Fire. For two reasons, multiple communities, but also multiple access points all around those fires at this time.
Thank you, Steve. Aiden J. Aiden might have lowered their hand.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Sorry, I accidentally muted myself. So a follow-up question. Have you noticed that there's a common theme with all these wildfires this year? Are they mostly all human caused or acts of arson? And if so, what do you think the motive is behind that?
Steve?
So as discussed, primarily in the first part of the season, all the fires, almost all of the fires were human caused, because we don't see that lightning activity from daily heat buildup. So in the first half of the season, almost all of our fires were caused by individuals, either through poor burning practices, through things like quadding, through things by campfires that weren't properly extinguished, including a couple instances where we have individuals have been charged for starting fires. After that, sort of the end of June, starting into July, we started to see lightning caused fires. So we're seeing a shift. The majority of the fires started since the start of July. The majority of those are lightning caused, but we still continue to see human caused fires, which is why we have the ban in place. So in spite of all the other ones, we still have urged people to be caution out there, be caution with their fire behavior and what they're doing, because we still do not want any unwanted human started fires at this time.
Chris V.
Chris with Global News here. Steve, the south flank of the Buell fire that's in the park, there's been talk from Parks Canada about if it crosses the, I believe it's the McLennan River, that it would prompt a higher evacuation status for Waskesiu. It would still be voluntary, but there would be an evacuation status there. What is the status of that south flank of the fire? And is there any expected growth with this wind shift coming from the north?
So that's what the Unified Command Team is doing. They're managing their high-risk areas. So that includes the The northeast corner by Ramsey Bay is getting extensive management with these crews that are arriving, and Parks is working on that southern flank. Like all fires, like the park fire by La Loche. As we look at these fires and where they may be, we establish control points, measures that we discuss with the community that will escalate, for instance, things like evacuation alert. It may bring in extra tactics or extra resources. So these trigger points are done as part of the planning point. And Parks has shared those, that there's some critical barriers that until it crosses that next barrier, it will be status quo as far as Waskesiu is doing and what the alert is. Should it do, then they will make a decision on how much more they have to escalate that. And that's the same thing we've seen for Isla Cross, same thing we saw for Candle Lake, same thing we saw and we'll see for La Loche. So that's standard planning when you're looking at large fire management, and that's what you're seeing on the Bullfire.
If I could
Thanks.
quickly clarify, sorry, Kara. You guys are pronouncing it the Bullfire. The Parks Canada is pronouncing it the Buell Fire. Does it matter, or like, is there a pronunciation that we should solidify on?
Steve, that's a good question, Chris. Steve, what do you want the pronunciation?
We don't know. There's only one fire in the area. Its spelling is B-U-H-L. So it may be up for grabs on what you would like to call it. But again, if you're writing it down, that's the official name of the fire, B-U-H-L. How it's pronounced may be different for folks, but just the one incident, not two. So to avoid confusion.
Steve. With that, I don't see any other questions up, so we will end it there. Thank you, everybody, for joining today. You can get the recording of this on YouTube and Facebook, and have a safe rest of your day.